Now we are going to talk about the principles of how people interact with each other. We have principle 5. Trade can make everyone better off. When people interact with each other, usually they have a trade. What do you mean by this? Rather than being self-sufficient, people can specialize in producing one good or service and exchange it for other goods. So imagine yourself, you live alone and you want to be self-sufficient. There is a study where there was a person who decided to be self-sufficient by himself. So he wanted to make a burger. So in this burger, he wanted to, for example, have his own farm and grow wheat because he wanted to make a bread. Also, he wanted to have a cow and milk the cow and make the cheese himself. Also, he decided to grow the lettuce, and he wanted to make the salt. He wanted to put salt on the meat, and so forth. It took him, as I remember, it took him about 6 months to make this burger because he wanted to make everything by himself. So that's why we call it self-sufficient. We call it self-sufficient. So do you think, is this practical? You want to do everything by yourself? With this example, imagine you want to make your own phone by yourself. You want to make your own house by yourself. It is not very practical for people. It's not very efficient for people to be self-sufficient. A better way to deal with this is people can specialize in producing one good or service and exchange it for other goods. This is a better decision for people. So that's what we mean by trade here. So trade can make everyone better off. If you want to talk about country level, countries also benefit from trade and specialization. Because if each country, they can specialize in goods that they are good, they can make a trade with other countries. And so by specialization, you can get a better price abroad for goods they produce and buy other goods more cheaply from abroad than could be produced at home. There is a good example of this. Saudi Arabia, back in the 90s, they decided to grow their own wheat. So they spent a lot of resources, for example, because Saudi Arabia is a desert. They don't have natural resources such as natural soil to grow wheat. They have natural big amount of water, for example. So, but what they did, they spent lots of money to make better soil, to produce more water, to give incentive to farmers to grow wheat instead of maybe growing other vegetables and fruits and so forth. After maybe they spent maybe about 10 years. After 10 years, they decided to stop this program or this project for Saudi Arabia. Even though at that time, Saudi Arabia was one of the biggest suppliers of wheat in the world. But what happened is that the cost of producing wheat in Saudi Arabia, it was more expensive than comparing to other countries that they produce wheat. And they spend a lot of money on producing wheat. So they decided eventually to stop producing wheat, and they decided to import wheat from other countries. Why? Because they can get a better price abroad for goods they produce. And by buying other goods, by buying wheat more cheaply from abroad, they can use this money and invest it, the saved money, and they can use it and invest it in other products that they can produce it in a better way or more efficient